today we have a interesting deck that actually low-key works. We're going to talk about Mega Blaziken and Greninja EX. Now, it sounds like a very strange combination here, right? You are playing Furfrou and Combustion to deal with, those bridges to get into Blaziken and, not rely on Rare Candy, right? That being said, Rare Candy is going to be utilized for Greninja and Blaziken, right? So you want more access into your Blaziken EX, so that's why Combustion is actually really good in this deck. Weirdly enough, this deck actually works pretty fine. You do have access to Shaman, so you could use the ability in order to swap in Pokemon and retreat, which is really good here. But the opponent plays Sabrina, has a nice field setup with the Swablues, and then forcing the Shaman to come out. This is a variant of Swablu, Psychic Swablu, regular Chingling style. It's not the Greninja, I believe, and here Swan has access to Mega Blaziken and Rare Candy, so you don't even need the Rare Candy here. You could just slowly build up to your Combustion, and you have the energy already in that, so you could start popping off. That being said, right, just overall, Furfrou is going to be there to knock out all of the Chinglings, so you could do everything you want. Again, Swan came up with this list, and he has many games winning against meta type decks, which shout out to him and for sharing his VODs here. And definitely, like, I don't know, I would say try out the deck. It's pretty fun. I wouldn't say like in rank, but overall in tournament, he did have like 3 wins in a row here and there. Like, I'm not saying like the deck will be meta changing or the best, but the deck is definitely viable every now and then. So now he could just go into Heat more and then start attacking the back row. So here he's going to evolve into Mega Blaziken, and I assume try to get rid of that Swablu, put it in that KO range, because you lose a Mega Pokemon, you lose the game, right? So that being said, overall, just like everything else, the Shaman is definitely there to get the Furfrou and Heat more out of the way, because sometimes you want to attack the front, sometimes you want to attack the back. In this scenario, you definitely want to attack the back row, because it's once there's a Mega Pokemon, you want to take advantage of that as much as you can. So they're gonna send out the Furfrou here. I mean, in this situation, the opponent is not in a bad position here, because they have the ability to get rid of the Mega Blaziken themselves. So if they get it into that KO range, but going to go into Cyrus and attack for 140 with the burn damage. That's going to put them in a situation, even if they retreat, Heatmore is going to come in and take the game. Just overall strong. This deck is super strong. It's like when it pops off, it pops off. Yes, this hasn't been a Greninja has not popped off yet, but then again, they're just going to switch into Heatmore and take the game here. Going into the next game, we are going to see him play against a Silvally Altaria deck. This deck has been like super popular, and just overall, so they ended up setting up the field, going into the Silvally, retreating, and going into Chingling, because Chingling is definitely a very important Pokemon in order to progress this gameplay. So the biggest threat right now is the Altaria coming out, so attacking the Swablu is definitely a smart play here. And just Furfrou introduced into the Blaziken build is really good. Overall, I feel like it's a very impactful card in the format, because like even Hydreigon is taking advantage of Furfrou and everything like that. So now, as you guys can see here, he is 1 card away from getting that Greninja out. He has a Mega Blaziken, so he's already popping off here, right? He is playing against, it looks like Jimbo. I just noticed that, I'm not going to lie, and this is all tournament gameplay here. So next up, he is popping off with Gladian, trying to get his missing pieces. But shout out to the Silvally. Silvally looks amazing in this new shiny form. So the 100 coming in real quick on the, what do you call it, on the Heatmore. Definitely don't want to get that extra fluff damage. So it doesn't even matter. You do have access to the Shaman in order to move everything around. Greninja is here. We're gonna get ready to pop off. Going to, you know, hit the Chingling and then destroy the Silvally, making the Chingling a liability. Like, it is insane what this deck could do. Another game that I want to go over, he is playing against Mega Lopunny Lucario, and he ended up leading out with Froakie here, which is rather unfortunate for him. But at the same time, you know, it's not looking that bad because he does have a Torchic, and, you know, he doesn't have a way to retreat the Froakie yet. So maybe he's looking like he wants to just sacrifice the Froakie here. But you do have the Heatmore. He did use 2 double Pokeball earlier on. But he does get the Lucario in the back. But luckily, nothing gets knocked out here because, you know, coin flip decks does what coin flip decks does, right? You're depending too much on luck, and, you know, sometimes it is what it is. So going into the Resurgence, obviously, because you don't want a copycat for 2 cards at all here. But, you know, at this point, you already have the energy on Torchic, which actually matters a lot. You want to keep the Froakie alive for the potential evolution for late game Greninja here. So you're gonna go into the Heatmore, and then, you know, just hopefully you draw into the Blaziken in order to use the rare candy combos, right? Because if you could extend, if they don't have the Mega Lopunny, they're going to be in a very odd position here. Like, this does 20 damage for each heads, right? So it does an additional 20 because of the Lucario in the back, and that'll do like 60 damage if it hits, you know, with double heads. But going into Hitmontop is going to do 40 damage, and going to go for the what do you call it, Torchic, which is kind of amazing. You want to get rid of that Torchic no matter what. Going to go in to the combustion here, right? Because we do have access. You do have access to what do you call it, rare candy, and you want to use that on Greninja because, believe it or not, that's just gonna make things so much better for you in the long term, because that 140 damage just turns into 160. So, you know, 160 is so much better to be dealing all around. And, you know, he could definitely just Cyrus in that Pokemon, that Binary, and then that'll put his opponent in a very bad situation here, right? You just normal evolve into Blaziken, and then you could just pop off. You can even use a May to look for the Greninja here, and using May, I mean, for the next turn. But, like, you know, at this point, you don't really need it at that point because you already took away their most heavy hitting Pokemon, right? Now that they don't have access to that, you could start popping off. Again, you know, Cyrus is just such a broken card. And this version, he is playing the double Cyrus. And, you know, just optimizing the list here and while he transitions through tournaments. So, you know, overall, going to go for the May. Hopefully he finds into that Greninja, which he doesn't. So he's gonna put away like the Furfrou and the Blaziken, and then probably gonna summon the Torchic here, and then just gonna keep swinging, because at this point in the game there's really nothing his opponent can do, because anything that comes out is going to get one-shotted, and just overall it's not looking good for the Binary deck. Let's just say in theory he was able to get that Greninja, it would be like so much better. He'll take less damage because he does have the second Cyrus, he does have you know, the Greninja and everything, but he's gonna go in and just stall him out here. But it really doesn't matter at this point. He doesn't play the Flame Patch, so it doesn't really matter. But that's gonna be it. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think about the deck.